right. Welcome to the This That Podcast, episode 109 with your host, my cousin Vlad. Gee, I'm happy to be back here at episode 109. Been able to chat at least a little bit, you know what I mean? Sorry about that. The voice is as croaky as Kermit the Frog's voice, bro, but it is what it is, you know what I mean? I've been battling this shit sinus infestation for the last 4 to 6 weeks. It's been a long trot. No one knows how to fix me. I came back from a doctor who's prescribed me antibiotics of various strengths 3 times a day, Augmentins, some other Aston Martin pills, 500 milligrams here, 500 milligrams, Clufoxamine, some other mean, you know what I mean? And it's just, I'm dropping tablets now, just destroying the gut bacteria that are so hard, worked so hard to fastidiously build in a gut program that I've been on, like sipping different, what are those things called in the morning that the Lebo people drink? Kefir. Sipping kefir like an Arabic leader, like Saddam Hussein driving around in a Merc with flags at the front, and eating kimchi like a Korean sous chef. You know, kimchi is like some cabbage that we usually have back in the old country, but it's put in a jar, it's peppered with different chilies and spices, and some guy farts in it and makes it ferment in there, and then when you open it up, it starts burping at you, gurgling, bubbling, rumbling. You know what I mean? I can't wrap that many more words for you, but you get the thesaurus kind of anyway description. What I'm saying is I've got to get back onto this. The voice, as you can hear, I'm going to try not to clear my throat that many times throughout this episode, but you're going to listen to Al Pacino basically doing the podcast now. I'm Vlad Pacino. It's not Al, it's Vlad Pacino. I've used 2 of his letters, Al, and flipped them around, the LA, and put a V and a D at the front and the end. So it's Vlad Pacino now, and I'm, you know, basically a mobster in New York, sipping a short black at 11:15 at night time, pretending it's not going to affect my sleep. Yep, so came back from the doctor. My son, he's croaky. This guy's as croaky as it gets, bro. Sounds like Bert Newton before he croaked it. You know, we're all, like, I've been freaking out. I've been on Dr. Google the whole week. I've been looking at, and this is the thing about me, you don't want to give me symptoms, because I'll start researching this shit like some university professor. I'll research it to the point where I'm totally like, I'm sweating whilst driving the Audi down Stony Creek Road. Just sweating, just going, all right, I'm done. I've got 3 to 6 left. And that's weeks, not even months. You know what I mean? Sometimes I think I could croak it on the day. So it's 3 to 6 hours. That's the level of hypochondria that I'm currently harboring. Unfortunately, it is what it is, bro. I've been a hypochondriac since a young kid, and seeing my daughter become hypochondriac as well is not a very comfortable feeling. So she's like, oh my God, I cut myself. Oh my God, what's going to happen? Daddy, what's going to happen? Just tell me that it's going to be all right, because I cut myself outside, and is there mold in the house? Do I walk in the mold? Will the dust get an infection? I need you to clean it. I need a Band-Aid. I need that Peppa Pig Band-Aid. Put it on it right now. Not the adult Band-Aid, because it doesn't work on kids. I need the Peppa Pig Band-Aid. And I'm just sitting there like just putting out fires. Here's the Peppa Pig Band-Aid, or here's the Hey Dougie Band-Aid, or Bluey Band-Aid, or whatever, you know, Wiggles one I've got in stock. Like Sebastian Maniscalco said, a Band-Aid should be a once-in-a-lifetime purchase as an adult, you know what I mean? But as a kid, it's a weekly purchase. I'm going through IGA, I'm picking up stickers, I'm picking up cheeses, yogurts, peas, broccolis, this, that, and a pack of Band-Aids. Gotta be putting it on there, because the kids smacking themselves in the head on the regular. And they don't care. My son walked straight into a table today, knocked himself out, walking around with a green forehead at the moment. There's not that blue tinge, hasn't come yet. It's kind of yellowy green at the moment. So he's handling that like a little champion. Yep, so I went to the doctor. My doctor can't hack me, right? So he looks at me as a problem. He's like, why is this guy coming to see me again? He's going to rant on for half an hour about certain possible looming illnesses, impending diseases, symptomatic relief, why this, why that. When he's got actual sick people waiting for him that can barely take a breath, I'm out here playing 2.5 hours of tennis and walking in the next day like it's my last day on earth. And most doctors, anyone with critical thought, can sit there and think, you're a mongoloid, you shouldn't be here, bro. Just go home, take some soothers, drink a lot of water, steam your throat, don't yell, don't drink alcohol, which is not drinking, day 8 now at the moment. You bear. And get on with your life. This is some shit, chronic sinusitis slash COVID-sitis slash don't get the jab ever again sitis that's taken over my body, you know what I mean? And the thing that I was tripping about, my old lady sounded like a man. I'm talking about my mum, sounded like a man for a while. Like, she's usually, hi, Mum, how are you? And all that. And she's calling me, she's going, there you go, man. There you go. You know what I mean? So she sounded like a bloke for a while. Now my son, this afternoon, as I picked him up, he goes, oh. This guy sounds like a trombone played by a year 8 person. That's the first time he picked it up in our school hall. So he's also catastrophe. So it's going around, I don't know what this is, but if I was to give you a timeline, and you should be interested in it, it's like on July the 2nd, when I drove all the way to Melbourne to Stitcher, one of the best shows ever, the Comedy Lounge, or whatever it is, the Comedy Laugh Factory, Comics Lounge, or the Heroes Lounge, or whatever it is. When I went there, I was meeting, greeting, shaking hands, saying hi to hundreds of people after the show, and one of you guys, Vladiators, and I appreciate you listening to the podcast and supporting the supporters that support the podcast, and dumping cash to come and see my show, which is worth every penny, plus more. I'm underpricing myself, to be honest. Someone's flicked it to me, and this thing is like it's a resident. It wants to live with me for ages. So that was July the 2nd. That's 10 weeks ago. 10 weeks I've been on and off feeling like average, but enough to be able to rap, enough to do a podcast, enough to lift a leg, enough to go left, enough to play tennis, but still like never feeling 100%. I think in the last 10 weeks I've had maybe 5-6 days where I felt 100%, but not recently. The last 4 or 5 weeks has been just continuous, just shit. And it is what it is, like I'm battling through it. So he's got me on antibiotics now. So I've got to go and blitz these antibiotics for 10 days, bro, 10 days. You know what I mean? That's shit. I'm not drinking alcohol. That's a new development that you guys can be a part of, actually. I've put it out here on the This That podcast now with, you know, thousands, tens of thousands of listeners. So I might as well have to back myself on this, you know, guarantee my success by putting it out there like Conor McMuffin said, say it out to the world and then go and try and go and get it for Oberjuba. I'm going to have to do that now and kind of stand by what I'm saying, bro. So at the moment, no alcohol. Even though I'm in on this podcast 8 minutes, already the throat's getting tired. So this is going to be a short episode. And then I've got tennis comp tonight, cracking open a little kombucha. This kombucha is from Remedy. They're not sponsors of the podcast, but they send me stuff. So shout out to Remedy. I love your products. Keep sending heaps through, bro, and don't stop. My missus, my kids love it as well. My kids have got gut bacteria like some long-distance African runner on a vegan diet for the last 40 years, bro, due to your kombucha. They love it. So they're constantly just eating that, drinking that, rather. So when I saw that doctor, and then he was pretty apathetic when I got there, just emotionless, looking at me, what do you need, what do you want? Because he gives out more referrals to me than a person that refers property selling to real estate agents. Like, he's just giving out referrals constantly. So the specialists that I'm seeing, they're loving this bloke. They're going, you're the biggest legend ever, buying him bottles of red wine, sending him packets of Panadol and shit that doctors take. And I'm just here just wasting money, just doing further investigations for no reason, just wasting dough. You know, being unwell or being hypochondriac or anxious in the physical health domain, it's the same thing as being the poorest person in the world, because as soon as you get money, you've got to go and dump cash. It's like people like me are keeping the medical industry going. Whereas there's other people that I know that he wouldn't step a foot into the doctor's office. I mean, he'd blitz himself on alcohol every day, made in a garage out of grapes stepped on by a 78-year-old's dirty feet with tinea and sports athletes foot in it. And then they'll come and preach to you that, you know, the doctors are all heathens and they're trying to keep you sick. Now, they've got Uppoint, Some doctors are heathens and are trying to keep you sick, and then other doctors have literally dedicated their lives to the research and administration of health services to help people not be miserable. But a person like me, I'm keeping them all happy. I'm keeping them all rich, driving around in an SL 500 Merc, latest edition, red leather interior, going through a midlife crisis. So I'm not going through it. Dr. Libertime is going through it and just made that name up so I don't get sued here for defamation. So that's the other thing I realised. Is everyone a doctor now? Like, you know, when I was in real estate, and to some extent I still am, I was giving advice about real estate. I wasn't giving advice about painting schemes. I wasn't doing internal decoration schemes. When someone goes to me, hey Vlad, what do you reckon, man? Should we paint the patio and lacquer the patio? I'd just be like, bro, like I said the other day, optional. It's up to you. Don't ask me. Ask some lady called Rose McGowan, and she's got a Pinterest page with 60,000 followers because she puts different pastel colours together up on a wall, and her husband's in the city working at Mac Bank on $2 million a year, and she can do that all day. And then she goes in, you know, as a side project, between getting the Land Rover cleaned and picking up the 4 kids from the school up in Edgecliff, she has to, you know, do something with the time of her, she'll hit the bottle. So you end up... I don't know where I'm going with this, but I wasn't given advice. That's where I was going with it. Brought it back. No alcohol, brains firing like a champion again. I'm back, baby. And I'm not going back to the dark places or the dark ages. Pitch como materin. So, Rose McGowan, she's the one giving advice whether the patio needs to be lacquered, this, that, whether you should paint the ceilings or do whatever. I was just like, bro, keep it presentable. Here's the real estate stats. This is the facts of the matter. But now I'm getting more advice off a hairdresser and a forklift driver than I am off a person that spent 9 years in university and then three years working out in rural areas helping the Aboriginal people that are ill because they're understaffed in those areas, and other natives, Indigenous people, and they've come back to Sydney to start a practice. I'm getting more talk from my tennis coach, who was eating KFC watching me play tennis last week. He's telling me about problems. He's telling me about how to fix everything. And it's not just here, how to fix your tennis elbow. It's like, oh, you got acid reflux. Oh, yeah, okay, you've got sinusitis. Oh, you got this, you got that. This is what I do. Squeeze a lemon in a drink and snort it up your nose. So like, I'm getting remedies from everyone. I'm confused. Now, I'm not saying they're wrong or right. Okay, so if you're going to cut this, everyone's got the right to talk. I'm just saying, due to Google, and due to everyone having social media, watching Andrew Tate and watching, I don't know, other heroes on there, everyone knows something and they're giving advice when they really don't know anything. That's the thing. I don't know anything. I'm here to entertain. I'm here to give you an hour a week where you can go, Jesus Christ, the most immaculate podcast in the world. 1, see how crap my voice is? 2 is to be able to go, geez, you know what I mean? He's got some perspectives of some funny shit. That's about it. But these people are saying it with conviction. Don't go to that doctor, bro. He's going to ruin you. He's going to ruin this. And then I'd start getting in my mind, I'm seeing this doctor, I'm like, are you my enemy? You know what I mean? Dr. Limpoff, are you my enemy? Are you here to fix me, bro? Are you here to drill me? What is it? Like I'm there contentious as a patient. I'm impatient, if anything. So I think people should just stay in your lane and get really good at something. If you're good at mixing cement with Dimchair, do the cement. Be really good at the driveway, bro. When the driveway comes out, people think it's sheet glass. They go, this thing's unbelievable, the way that you got Bob Socks to come there and shine it back so it looks perfect. Do that, bro. Lacquer the driveway. Make it look amazing. Make someone slip a disc when they go down with a slight bit of rain. Make it that nice. Don't tell me about sinus issues. You know what I mean? You can give me an idea. I get it. Give me an idea, but the conviction's got to settle down. It's got to be more like, oh, have you considered maybe that there's mold in the house, man? Because there was a bit of mold in my place. I got that rectified. The sinus issues disappeared. It's not like, they're going to kill you, bro. You don't understand what they're doing. They're trying to destroy you. Bill Gates is going to come over your house and going to take the title deeds off the wall. You're like, please, stop it. You're my mate. Like, I'm trying to have a chicken shish taouk here with you at the Lebo restaurant. I don't need the constant, you know what I mean? freaking out, bro, with all these perspectives. And I go and say the same shit to the doctor, and that's why he doesn't want me there anymore. He doesn't answer the phone when I call him. One day it's like the boy who cried wolf. He's gonna, actually, I'm gonna need the bloke. He's gonna say, I don't need you, bro. Just go and ask Tim at tennis. So that's how it was, bro. So it is what it is. I'm just gonna get it sorted out. Hopefully in a couple of weeks. I'm gonna go see now. I have to see an ENT. He knows I'm even that bloke didn't want to see me. He's probably been speaking with my doctor and going, if you get this bloke, Vlad, I mean, just, you know, heed my warning. Get an MRI before you bring him in, because this guy's going to waste 2 hours of your time. Because he's been speaking to every person at the Lebo restaurant that know more than you, even though you're 62 years old and you started training at this at 22 years old. All right, let's get on to something else. Hope you guys are feeling better than me, that's for sure. All right, we're back. Back at it, bro. We're at the Queen's commemoration station. This Thursday, the 22nd, it's become, what would we call it, a public holiday for the year, or a gap day, or whatever you want to call it. I'll tell you what, a lot of people that dislike the Queen for some spurious reasons or factual reasons, I'm not sure, are still taking the day off. I'll tell you that for sure. That's as much punk as they are. That's as how true to their, that's how rock and roll, you know what I mean? Rock and roll, how do you do rock and roll? How rock and roll they are, bro. Like, you can tell people are full of shit these days so easy, because what they talk right, they walk left. It's simple as that. I understand if someone had a gun to your head and said, do this, and then you go against it to survive. But for bullshit, people just talk right and walk left all the time. I don't know, 2 or 3 people, and they were all female, told me they didn't like the Queen. Already with the bitch arguments, even though she's dead. Oh, and do you like the Queen? I was like, I don't like or dislike her. I don't know who she is. She seemed like a polite little lady that resembled my grandmother, but slightly less. You know, my grandma's quite gutty. She's like very heavily fed, just gutty. You know, not now, because she's kind of deflated with the age and things like that, but maybe there was a gluten intolerance, or, you know what I mean, she'd just eat too much. Who knows? But the Queen just, I don't know, she just reminded me of an old, like, hello, how are you, kind of a meek lady, but I don't know whether she was pressing the button for countries to be bombed. Who knows? You know what I mean? If that was happening, not a fan. You know, I'm not a fan of any of that, but our country was taken over. Countries have been taken over constantly. There's one being taken over now. There's another one, Taiwan's going to be taken over very soon as well. I mean, my old country was taken over by the Turks. What are you going to do? Stop it? Go ahead, bro. Be a hero. What are you going to do? But the thing is, what irritates me, it's like, these people, both these girls, I'm just going to say it, while I was speaking over dinner, were taking a political stance on how the Queen has paid off some big money so her son didn't go to jail for going to Jeffrey Epstein's island or something like that. I don't look into that, because it's mental reading about that stuff, and I have no interest in it. I don't want to talk about the human trafficking and the children on an island dancing with Michael Jackson and Paul McCartney, and then Bob Dylan or Bob Hawke, I don't know, not Bob Hawke. So if you're going to cut that, not Bob Hawke, well, I was thinking about that other guy in America. What's his name? Clinton. Bill Clinton, and his shit little wife going to these islands doing horrendous things. If that's true, I'm not sure, but they've got enough proof to suggest that it's true. They reckon the Queen's somehow in on this now. So I was like, oh my God, that's not good. So you're not a fan? No, she's a horrible person. I was like, okay, well, she's dead now. And there's people marching around. David Beckham's crying at her funeral. I don't know whether that's extra Visine dripping out of his little eyes with the tattoos all over his hands, but I mean, don't get tats on your hands. You look dirty. You look dirty. You never look clean. You can never look clean. I've had a 6-day shower. You come out still looking dirty. All right? Looks like you're a mechanic. Okay? That's just my opinion if you're going to cut that. But it's like, she goes, yeah, she's this, she's that. And I go, you know, there's a public holiday next Thursday for that. Yeah, you must be working then. No. I'm not going to work. I go, what are you talking about? Go to work, bro. It's optional. You know, some of these necessary jobs like hospital work and stuff, which they do, you know, nah, forget that. School, nah, it's off, all of these people. So it doesn't matter whether you like her or not. You're still going to take the day off, because what you don't like more than her is working. You know what I mean? But if you're a real hero, go to work on that day. Oh, Tracy, why are you working today? The Queen, bro, she's a bitch. I don't like her. She's done some unsavory things in the past, which I have absolutely no, real proof of, because it's all bundled down in media and misinformation and this and that. But I'm just sitting around here 30,000 Ks away commenting on Instagram on a post while I'm watching, maths or some other mindless shit. I don't want to get too deep into this topic. All I'm just saying is, like, if you don't like the Queen and you don't agree with her, work next week or this week, whenever the day is. Pick up a shovel, start working. Work, that's a normal day in life. Do not take advantage of the day off. You do not believe in it. Do not, like these people shouting to change Australia Day, change the date, change the date. On that day, don't go to the pub and get horse shit, okay? Go to work. And when they change the date, then take the day off. But up until now, most of you have had 12 schooners at the local pub bickering. It's just action above words, bro. That's all I'm saying. Okay, so now that I've got all of these fake actors off my chest, we can go to some questions for Vlad. All right, questions for Vlad. Can you go into a little more detail about how your 20s differentiate to your 30s? All right, how your 20s differentiate into your 30s just depends about the decisions you make in your 20s, entering your 30s. If I'm not going to get too much into it, like a Wayne Dyer, Anthony Robbins gear right now, I'm just going to talk about in my 20s, my head was, because I got married at 30, or 30, 31, I got engaged at 30, maybe 31, I don't know, somewhere around there. My brain was like to be a rock star, to be popular, to go out to get attention. I'm getting all of that now, even though I've got 2 children and I've gone a little bit less shredded. Hair still flickering, thank God, and way more skill set now. But you're just energetic, you're lost. I'm talking about blokes here. Some girls have got their heads screwed on. Some blokes have got their heads screwed on. Like my cousin got married at 24 years old. He's making $500,000 a year. He's happily married with 2 children, high school sweetheart. He doesn't worry too much. Every now and then he might have the regret that he didn't go to the Greek islands, you know what I mean, and put a pill up his ass. But most of the time he's just enjoying a regular life, which is quite healthy. He once said something to me that kind of bothered me, to be honest. It kind of bothered me because it must have been underneath the ego when I was at his house, rock star, steez, little denim jacket, this, that. And I think he said, looked at me and he said something like, when are you going to quit this shit and join society? And I was like, what do you mean? He goes like, it wasn't exactly those words, but I was like, more like, when are you going to give up and just join us average Joes? Not that I wasn't an average Joe, but I'm kind of atypical, doing different things. You know what I mean? On a Tuesday night, while these guys chopping up capsicum for a prawn stir fry, I was trying to ollie a set of stairs at Waterloo on a skateboard at 26 years old. I was doing that shit. I was writing music with a bunch of guys with hair past their shoulders, while this guy was changing nappies. His kids are 10 or 12 years old now. Mine are 2 and 5. So there's a trade-off, bro. This doctor was telling me once, there's good habits and bad habits, and I don't know why this has got anything to do with 20s and 30s, but listen to it. Go down the Vlad rabbit hole, Vladiators in Wonderland, as we call it. And I worked out a philosopher name for me, Vladiators. So that was there the whole time, and I didn't realise it. Aristotle, Vladiators. Right, there it is. What was I talking about? Good habits, bad habits, this, that. He goes, a bad habit has a good payoff in the short term and a not so good payoff in the long term. A good habit has got a not so good payoff in the short term and great payoffs in the long term. So it's like the impulse versus, better decisions. So that's what I was thinking. Like, but in my 20s, it's mostly impulsive. Even into my 30s, mostly impulsive. I'm just an impulsive bloke. And for me to kind of change it to become a little bit more thought out, it took me to have children. And if you're a very impulsive person, booking hotels and calling a bunch of people that dislike you into the hotel and pretending you're Puff Daddy, drinking Grey Goose, Ciroc, and, you know, calling people with neck tats in there to drop off stuff into the toilet, maybe you need to get yourself in a high responsibility realm. And maybe this world is, you're going to end up on a balcony one day on the wrong side of it if you keep going down that highway, you know. That being said, warning, bro. That's a warning. So, I've seen it happen. All I was going to say is in my 20s, short-term thinking, little goals, mostly just transient bullshit. And I always wanted to do what I'm doing, but interestingly enough, I just couldn't break that barrier. Maybe my heart wasn't in the right place. Maybe there was too much ego. Maybe I didn't have enough life experience, whatever it was. Maybe it's just not God's plan. That's the way I look at it. It's not God's plan, and it'll happen in due course. Because like, who said it the other day? You make plans and God laughs. If you want to make God laugh, make plans. Like, I get it. Like, I get that point. And then you've got a lot of hucksters out there saying, you need to plan everything down to the T and you need to attack with force and this and that. And then some semi-trailer reverses into you the next day and you can't breathe. And you go, what part of the plan was that? You know, I didn't plan that. You know, the bus to go through the red fucking light while I was sitting in the intersection smoking a vape. I didn't plan that. My right knee needs like to be stitched together again now the meniscus has ended up on the wrong side. So this is a tragedy part of life, bro. I'm sorry, I'm not here to make you laugh, here to make you think with an F, if anything. Yep, so the 20s was more like that, fun, having fun. And to be honest, have fun in your 20s. Do it. Don't push it too hard to the point where then you need to wear like thick reading goggles because your brain's been fried. You need to at least have some concept of the future. You're not going to feel that good forever. In your 30s, you start to think to yourself a little bit, might want to settle down a little bit. The liver hurts. Or, you know, I mean, everyone starts training in their 30s. Everyone will become a triathlete in their 30s. To some extent, you're either swimming long or running long or riding long. You have to do something in your 30s to stop yourself from walking out into traffic because it's tough. Life gets harder, the brain gets more fickle. You start seeing doors close on the youth front. You start seeing doors open on the old cunt front. Sorry. You know what I mean? But you start seeing that open up. You start laying down in bed at night time and your brain starts going, what are you doing with your life? Who are you? What have you done with your life up until now? You know what I mean? Could you have done things different? You start looking in the mirror, there's tits happening. God's turning you into trans. God's the surgeon here. Your tits are jiggling, and this is for a bloke. So if you're going to cut that, I'm talking about blokes getting tits, all right? Women can grow beards. God will trans you too. Good luck, sorry. There was a photo of some old wogs at a wedding yesterday when I saw 100% I thought it was Molly Meldrum. It was an old lady. She was dancing to her granddaughter's wedding like this. She's 75 years old, 100% man. You know what I mean? What are you going to do? God's the surgeon here. So that's what the difference is in your 30s. There's a little bit more of a deeper thought. There's, hopefully. I mean, if you're deeper thinking in your 20s, God bless you, bro. You know what I mean? You're probably going to achieve higher places quicker. In your 30s, if you start... Again, pretty good, better than your 40s, better than your 50s. Some people don't reach it ever. They're acting, they're 62 years old. He's got a photo of Alexander the Great tattooed on his back now. He decides to drink a bottle of Jack Daniels and goes head on into the back of a car driving home. Like that's, everyone's got their own troubles and life's tough. That's all I'm saying. But that impulse control, which I was telling you about before, which the doctor was saying the good and bad habits, I reckon as blokes, we need to start putting that shit into practice earlier on, because my old man didn't have the problems at 40 years old going to Bucks parties. He didn't have that problem. At 40 years old, I was 15 years old. You know what I mean? He was taking me to basketball grand finals in North Sydney, watching me score 4 points and being disappointed that he wasted his day. He'd rather be out there rapping. And then driving through Red Rooster with me and my fat mate Rick. There's different problems. So I really don't know in respect to what your personal journey is, but life's hard, life's great. At the same time, it's usually 50-50, hard to great, you know what I mean? And that's the way you want to keep it. You don't want it to be 80% great and 20% hard, because then it'll flip one day and it'll be 80% hard and then 20% good, and then that's hard to deal with. So you want to keep it kind of centered, and you've got the steering wheel. In many aspects, you are the one steering it. Well, that's my Vladiators kind of perspective on it. So in your 30s, just a little bit more serious, bro. More fun, by the way. In my 30s, best decade. I reckon my 40s will be better, but the 30s, fantastic decade. Way more stuff being done, way more real shit, way more love, just the whole, way more pressure, way less hair, way more tits. The whole thing is more and less, but I'm not trading for the 20s, not trading for the 20s. Okay, bang. All right, Alan Luengra. There's a few people here that I've done a few questions for, I think. Questions for Vlad. Does your family socialise with any single parent families? Wondering if it'll affect our kids. Does my family, are you talking about, okay, me and my kids? Single parent, we don't really socialise with anyone, to be honest. They're not at the age yet. Like next year, my daughter's getting to kindergarten. They're gonna start to socialise with other people. I'm kind of regretting that. Not regretting it, but I'm kind of dreading it, to be honest. I don't want to speak to someone and pretend that we've got things. Hi, how are you, man? Who's your daughter? Chloe, is it? Oh yeah, how are you doing, man? Yeah, good. What do you do? Yeah, man, I work over in Combank at the city, man. I'm in acquisitions. Also tinkering around a lot with like the Bitcoin and the crypto world at the moment. You into that? You into a little bit of crypto? You into any NFTs? Are you into? I go, no, bro. I'm not into NFTs. I'm like, what do? You're a comedian. Oh, comedian. Oh, wow. You must be funny, bro. And then when you tell someone you're a comedian, instantly they're just waiting for you to make them laugh. And then it's just awkward there because I don't want to make anyone laugh without paying me cash. Like you pull out the wallet, give me at least $40 for the ticket, and I'll give you an hour. But actually, I wouldn't do it for 40 for an hour. You're going to have to like 400 at a minimum for one person. You know what I mean? If we're going to do lap dance shows, this, that, one-on-ones, you know what I mean? Like it's going up like a Russian import over here as some spearmint rhinos in Melbourne. But does it socialise with single parents? No. Will I socialise with single parents? Yes. I'm not going to discriminate because of an unfortunate circumstance in someone's life. I pray for the getting together of families and for the family unit to stay strong. It's very important. But then some people don't have a choice. Some people's partners die. Like, let's not get too morbid here, but it happens. I was showing a property a couple of weeks ago, and she was a young woman, and I was like, is your partner going to see it? Because you can't say husband these days. So I was like, is your partner going to see it? And she was like, yeah, this, that, yeah, he won't be seeing it. He unfortunately passed away a couple of years ago. Heartbreaking for me. I don't even know the lady. Still, I felt her pain. Little daughter, 5 years old. Tough, tough. So I sent my love out, like, and, what I don't like is when the families break up due to being spoiled brats, which happens a lot. Not enough cash, too much cash, get caught doing lines off a stripper's asshole, and the wife leaves. She should leave because you're a heathen anyway, but I'm just saying, yeah, don't do that stuff if you want to raise a healthy family, and then don't tell your daughter, hey, that bloke looks like a loser, when you think back to yourself 20 years ago, what you're doing, stuffing your nose into a stripper's ass. That's another thing. Hypocrite warning. Sorry, can't do it. You're married, your father now. But that's what I don't like. But unfortunately, some people do break up, single parents. Is it going to affect our kids? No, bro. No, because I remember also growing up where people were divorced. The parents were divorced, and the kids, some of them were my friends, and I'd go over and the mum was there, or mostly the mum or the dad was there. It's no judgment. You're a child. And it didn't affect me. Like, no. Don't be fearful of that stuff, especially if you're at home being a legend of a dad, yourself, and your mum, a good mother and loving mother, whatever. Don't worry about it, bro. It's not gonna bother you. Sometimes there's, wars going on in a country, and people are happily going off to school reading Roald Dahl books. And, 20 kilometres away, there's people walking into houses and burning them with like bombs. So it happens at the same time. What are you going to do? You can't change that shit. So I would say that's it. That's my answer on that one, bro. Short and sweet. Alan Luengra, forget it, but don't worry about it, bro. It's all good. It's a wrap. All right. And this one from Big Pete. Why is it silly people are always happy? That is a good question. Like, I actually, it is a good thing, bro, because there's less ego there, you know? So, like, it's not silly, all right, because silly people aren't always happy. Are you talking about, like, light-hearted, people into tomfoolery and other English words, buffoons? Are you thinking like that, light-hearted kind of this type of that, gang left kind of people? Yeah, well then, yeah, they should be happy, bro, because they don't take on the weight of the world. Not all of us can handle this pressure, having the whole star universe behind you like on this screen. It's not for everyone, bro. And it's true, my grandfather told me the best thing when I was like, give me some advice, bro, because after you pass away, I've got my dad, and that guy's as deep as a puddle. I love my dad. I definitely love my dad more than anything, but he's not into the philosophical side of things. He's like, get up, rap, go to bed, you know, and I need him for that because he instilled that hard work ethic into me. He's like, I couldn't have a day off. There is no day off with my dad. He'd walk and kick me in the rib cage. Get up now, work, do something, pretend to work even. I don't care. And I became a master at that. I was like Al Cappuccino pretending to work for 20 years. It is what it is, you know, until I got some real responsibility in my life where I had to rap. There's a catastrophe for years, but I like the philosophical side of things. But he goes to me, don't put too much on your brain. Don't think about too much and you'll be happier. My grandpa's more of a happy-go-lucky guy. But I think you said silly. Silly people aren't happy because silly people do dumb shit and then they end up with dumb results and then they can't be happy. So I would definitely not say, rephrase it to happy-go-lucky, light-hearted, those type of people. It's just because they're not putting too much the worries of the world on their shoulders. It is a better way of life, bro. It is a better way of life. I'm not wired that way. For me, I'm more on the thinking side of things, more on the ego side of things. Like, that being said, like, it helps me in what I do, bro, but it's difficult to, like, just let everything go. Like, that's why I have to do the licking of the river. That's why I have to go surfing in the Pacific Ocean. That's why I do all this stuff, run through the forest like a lone wolf, eating mulch, berries, this, that. I do all of that stuff to kind of get into the now, get into the lightheartedness. And then actually my dad's the happy-go-lucky guy. There you go. That's probably why he's not even giving that advice, is because he is that. He's an example of that. Funny bloke. Very funny. Type of guy to reverse his ass and fart into a fireplace and see if he can light his pajamas up. Having fun all the time. Great example as to why you can have fun and still be quite successful in life. You know, in his work domain, which is where he kind of likes to be successful in. So, yeah, I think that's probably why, bro. It's Big Pete. Thanks for the question. We're doing quick ones today. Quick little questions. Why not? We'll just ram and rattle through them, bro. I got some more yesterday. John Luca Fantacucci. Thanks for the wedding tips. Bucks coming up in a week. Any tips? Good luck. Have fun. Have fun. Remember, you do have a wedding to attend to, bro. You don't want to end up cross-eyed and on a drip. So, you know, at least think about that. Some heavy questions. You guys hit me with the heavy stuff, bro. All right. Questions for Vlad. Nick Stodge 03. What's the most courageous thing you have ever done? Oh, that goes with timeline. That's like a timeline thing, bro. Like I'll give you a few, Nick. All right, let's go. All right, one of the most courageous things that I did when I was in, and I can remember this, I've got a fantastic memory for certain things. I asked my mate John Kalitsos to go and ask this girl Mira out on a date for me. For me. I liked her. She had a light moustache. He went up to her, true story. We're in the playground. This guy was a funny bloke with like little skinny legs, a little short guy with a receding hairline in year 8. And I was like, Kalitsos, can you please go up and ask Mira, just go up and tell her Vlad likes you, and would she go out with me? That was the term. Like hook up is these days, I don't know what you guys call now, lick arsehole or something, but now it's more like, it was back in those, will you go out with me, right? So he started laughing just when I was proposing this request of him. He was like, you want me to say that, man? Like that, like Muttley. And I was like, yeah, bro, can you stop laughing, man? Like, yeah, I'm serious here. I really like this girl. He's like, yeah. So I want to come on with a saying again, man. I go, I don't know now whether I should be asking you anymore. I'm quite regretful that I even asked you this because it's out there now. It's going to go to everyone. John, George, Bill, Steve, all these Greeks hanging around me, just going to know this now. So she was Greek as well. Go and ask Mira. Out on a date with Vlad. So he goes, all right. So he runs off. I remember. I'm drinking like a chocolate oak or something like that, smashing like a sausage roll with a pie, with a sauce on top. Not with a pie. And he's out there talking, and then I was kind of hiding behind like a thin tree and like pretending, like you didn't have phones back then. So you literally had to own your position in the field. You had to own your area in the quadrangle. You can't look at your phone like a dimwit that everyone is, pretending to be busy. You're just swiping up past an ASICS commercial, Spanian, some other person, you know, screaming on the screen, me. And it's more like back in those days, you got to stand there looking like a security guard. And then he comes back and he slapped me on the back of the shoulder and he goes, "Tony, man, you know what she said, man?" And I go, "What?" And she said, "Nah, man." She goes, "Nah." She said, "Yeah, man, she just wants to be friends with you, man." I'm like, "John, why are you laughing so much, bro? I'm finished. My heart's killing me now. I'm so embarrassed. I can never talk to her again. There's an elephant in the room now." He's like, "Oh, it's all right, man." I'm like, this is it. Like, that was a courageous thing, right? I was pussy, but I was courageous. At the time, I was in year 8, year 9, or whatever it was. I was just discovering my own schlong, like, let alone, you know, what you do when you get a girlfriend back in those days. You hold hands like this, like that, fingers interlocked, and you walk around the school. You walk around the quadrangle, recess and lunch, and then after school you kiss each other and you let them get on the bus and they go home. That's what you do. Because people were hooking up in year 6 back in my days. In the 90s, I've seen people grabbing box everything in year 6, bro. And this is a child-friendly podcast. So I'm talking about like the lunchbox. So I've seen it all. But I've seen people smoking durries in year 6. Like we were in the 90s. It's like kind of a wild time. Shit time, wild and good at the same time. More free. They're not vaping like now in the toilets, blowing out some like raspberry mint fusion into the toilets in year 6. It was a different time. Maybe it was just my demographic that I grew up with. Anyhow, so that was a courageous thing. The other time it was courageous, shit, bro. Getting on stage, singing for the first time. There was a non-smoking pub and I had schooners on stage and I started smoking cigarettes. I was that nervous on stage, nearly got kicked out. That was quite a courageous time. I don't know, doing sporty stuff like surfing waves and bigger swells, and that's courageous. I don't know. But the most courageous thing is like facing yourself in the mirror, bro, and looking at a catastrophe. That's probably the most courageous thing. In your 20s, you think you know it all, right? You think, bro, you don't tell me nothing, bro. You know, listen to your dad, your mum, your grandfather, or Vlad. I mean, I might be the voice of the youth right now, speaking to you guys and going, "Don't be a catastrophe, calm down." And you guys might be listening, driving the Pulsar Triple S now, or the Volkswagen GTI. A bunch of heads beeped the horn at me the other day, all doing the rapping sign, rap, rap, while I was driving down the highway. They spotted me, I don't know how. And but back in the 20s, you're like, move, bro. You just want to run into walls at high speeds. That's just what it is. You know, be careful, bro. Be careful. There's a long road ahead. But then maybe getting engaged, being a dad, getting married was courageous for me, bro. I was free falling. It's not like I dislike my missus and partner. I don't want to be with anyone else ever. It's just like I don't know, it's a big leap, bro. It's a leap into the unknown. It's a leap into the rap, the lock for life. So that was courageous. Becoming a dad, shit myself. When my missus told me she was pregnant, I was gone. I was gone for 24 hours. I didn't know what day it was. I had like a massive panic attack. She went to work. I was just like, oh my God, this is actually happening. Oh, I don't know if I'm ready. I'm finished. I sat in my studio just going, the music career's over. I'm never going to be on stage, this, that. I mean, how untrue was that? So that was another courageous thing. But again, facing thy ego and that heathenistic mindset is the most courageous thing probably you can do for yourself and everyone around you. All right, wrap. This throat is barely holding up, bro. Tej Fundamental. How to stop bad habits. How do you stop bad habits? Questions for Vlad. Jesus. I'm tired now, bro. I've got to wrap this. I don't know how long I've done, but... Okay. How to stop bad habits. With great difficulty is the first and foremost answer. Don't listen, please, to anyone, or you listen to people that have broken bad habits. That's what you should do. Don't listen to anyone that's telling you that it's easy, okay? Because it's not. A habit, there's some hero that's studied it, says that it takes 20, 30 days to begin a habit. Some it takes more, some it takes years, but it takes about the same to kind of break it. Because the brain is a physical thing, bro. Like circuitries, all these wires up there, this, that, connection stations, complex like mechanisms and stuff like that. Blood, who knows what's going on up there. But I would definitely say that anyone goes, mate, I just quit. You know, like my grandfather goes, I just quit cigarettes. And I was like, did you really? He goes, yeah, they started tasting like shit to me. So I scrunched at the packet, I threw it. And then 2 weeks later, I had one or two, and then I threw it, and I was done. But he didn't say that he was smoking from 15 years old until 55. He smoked for 40 years. So he was sick of them, literally, by that point. Then it's easy to break it. But if you selectively break a habit that you don't want, that you're currently enjoying, like alcohol, for me, it's day 8. Not drinking alcohol, and you're going to see a transformation in Vlad. I'm going to lose maybe 10 kilos by New Year's Eve. You're going to go, Jesus, you're beyond shredded now. You're really shredded. Even till now, it's just been shredded. That's why the car's S. But it's going to be an RS by Christmas, possibly. So it's like, but that's selectively, it's tough, especially in the good times, especially when there's parties. I'm talking about bad habits. Again, you got to write down, if you want to do it successfully, you need to scare yourself out of the outcome of holding on to this habit of bad habits. Now, bad people hanging around with a bunch of morons, this is a bad habit, right? And you know who it is. People that aren't happy for you. You can smell them, you can see them. Just be discerning enough. Be standing around, as Andrew Tate said, perspicacious. He uses these words. But the guy's not dumb. He's not stupid, that guy. He knows what he's talking about. He pokes people and G's them up like Ali G because he wants to get a reaction and get more TikTok clocks and stuff like that. But his message is kind of clear. Don't agree with everything he's saying, talking about pounding women on the side of your missus. Not into that, all right? It's against the Bible, even though he's talking about he's a biblical guy. He's not. He's picking and choosing like a heathen, okay? But I would say if you want to break it, just say you're 40 kilos overweight. You got to think to yourself, if I keep going like that, I'm going to trip over my tits and have a heart attack. What's that going to look like? It's going to be shit, bro. It's going to be hard, blah, 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 this, that. Write it down, read that every day, read that every day. When you turn up at the cafe and you're looking at the scones, you're going to start, read that shit. Don't pick up the scone, grab a banana, dude. Get a pear, slice it up. It's a little blueberry salad. You're just enjoying that 30 days of that pain, hating yourself. You've gone from having a double, cappuccino, full cream milk into a long black or a short black. You're making these shit. But as you start seeing the results, the habit becomes easy to flick because the little dopamine receptors up there in the brain station, it's going, this is good, man. You're a little legend, bro. You're a legend. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Now, I was 120 kilos, all right? So This is the first time I've ever said this. Back in the catastrophe days, when I was a barrister making coffees, this, that, working at Woolies, getting fired, doing burnouts, getting my car stolen, riding off my car, ending up in hospital, the catastrophe of Vlad days, I was 120 kilos, miserable, sweaty, smoking durries, Dunhill blues, didn't listen to my parents. My dad hated me, my mum hated me. They didn't hate me, but they if they could trade me, they would. I decided when my missus punted me that I needed to lose weight because I couldn't fit into a double XL jumper. I looked like DJ Khaled. Not a good look, okay? God did is all great, but you don't want to look like, you wanted to get a bit more self-respect. Now, I snapped one day when I jumped on the scales and I went, ouch! When the scales yelled, I went, all right, that's time to change. I think it took about 4 or 5 months of like serious changes, and I lost 20 kilos, 20. Got down to 100. I stayed around 100 my whole life. Since then, that's 20 years ago. So I was like, I think I got down to 95 at the lightest, because you hit like a plateau. I hit a plateau at about 105. I couldn't go anywhere. And then I upped the exercise, because your body wants you to be a loser, wants to relax. So I had to I was playing basketball in the morning or soccer in the morning, and then basketball at night time, running more. Wasn't eating carbs at night, just having a bowl of oats in the morning, no more Coca-Cola, just water, etc., this, that. And it started falling off. People were like, geez, you're looking good, lad, you're looking good. And then I got down to 95. I was looking amazing at that point, coming out like Zlatan Ibrahimovic. But then I got back up to a stotka, which is 100. I was enjoying the stot for a while, but now I've cranked it to 105. So now I've gone back up, and people that have been watching my channel from like 2019 have gone, yeah, you're getting a little thicker, bro. But it is what it is. Like the last 2 years has been a bit of a mental challenge for me. Changing careers, staying at home a lot, new kid on the block is just tougher. So at the same time, the adaptation station, not blaming anyone, I'm the person that's at fault. You know, crunching a few too many crafties. Oh, it's a little bit of a French pudding at dinner. Oh, it's a sprinkling of a parmesan. You don't need it. This, that, and all of a sudden the scale is going up again. So in order to change it, you've got to write down what you definitely don't want to be. So I've said this on this podcast ad nauseum. Write down, and it wasn't me that came up with this, Porton Jeterson said it. Write down what you definitely don't want to see. If you're in a relationship with a missus that you love, write down going to, O'Malley's pub in the city, sitting around with bikies on a Thursday night looking for a girl. You don't want that, for example. You want to stay with your missus and live in the house and have kids. You've got to be terrified of going out to the pub and getting a neck tat the next day. That's just what it is. Like, you got to be at least scared of that shit. And then you'll try to steer away from that. Like when you're driving, if you're doing 160, you got to know that, man, at 160, I could be thrown in jail for this. There's got to be some type of dragon that you're running away from, in the sense, or you're at least fearing in the sense of that. Otherwise, good luck to you. You'll be catching buses till you're 50 and you learn. So I'd say that would be the first step. Second step, little goals, and stick to it. Like just little stuff, stick to it. No matter how big the bad habit is, if it's smoking cigarettes, you got to change it. Get onto Nicorette tablets. That's one, because you won't feel like a durry when you have one of those. And then at the end of each week, bro, you've saved yourself, I don't know, what is a packet of cigarettes cost now? $195. At the end of the week, grab yourself a little shirt, bro. Get a nice pair of running shoes or something that you like. Get yourself a mad little hairstyle, bro. Go and get Joey and Moe to clip up your beard so you look like Drake. Do something that makes you feel and look good. And then you will start to change the identity of yourself. And then when that identity changes, then it becomes easy, because you're building a new Lego man in life. And I reckon you just start with those, bro. And I'm pretty sure that you're going to get some type of ease in the habit changing by listening to that little bit of Vladiators right there. I'm not going to go on too long because of the throat, but Tej Funk the Mental, bro, thanks for the question, brother. Wrap. All right, we're going to do one more. All right, what do we got here? All right. Questions for Vlad. Stop it, bro. Alex Bits. They say failure is the best teacher. What's your biggest failure and what did it teach you? There's a little rap on that. Failure is the biggest teacher. What's your biggest failure and what did it teach you? That's good. I like that. My biggest failure, right? There's countless. I've got so many failures. They're not. They are failures, like missteps, misjudgment. I would say it's procrastination station and wallowing with around people that are not as driven and are quite aimless and depressing and boring. So remaining average when you don't actually want to be average and you're driving and you've got a desire and passion to do some more things in life. Not everyone has to be like that at all. Like, everyone do your own thing, bro. You want to work at the canteen, Kingsgrove High School, making peanut butter and jam sandwiches. That's awesome. I love that because everyone's got to fit a role. You know what I mean? Those people don't want to podcast. They don't want to get on stage. You know, they don't want to do this stuff. So I get it. But for me, I did. And I didn't because I was talked out of it. But again, I don't blame anyone. I blame myself. That's the biggest lesson I've ever learned. Blame yourself. It's so liberating when you don't victimize your existence on life, bro. Because, I mean, like, I'm not going to name the people, all right? But everything is them against us. And that mentality is hopeless, bro. Is the best way to put it. It's a hopeless mentality, and I've been there many times. And all it does is make you angry, resentful, skeptical, cynical, revengeful, all of that. It makes you a shit person. Whereas you're like, all right, and I still have, you know, what do you call it, like backlashes of that coming into your life because it's embedded in your being, bro. If you've been like that for 15 years, oh, the government this, Bill Gates that, my husband this, my sister that, and you're blaming external, and makes you to be a perfect human, and there's no reason for you to change ever. You're waiting for 99.999 forever % of the world to change to fit this one perfect gleaming example of a human being. I mean, that just mental. That sounds mental even on the podcast. So it's like, yes, don't wallow in that. So wallowing in this revolving roundabout of just negativity and all of that stuff. And in hindsight, when I think about how the band broke up and I left that world, for example, has been nothing but good for me and for everyone in the band. And everyone has take off in a different journey. We're still tight, for example, but the music industry, for example, for us, it was tough, and you can't help but to start, you know what I mean, thinking, Jesus Christ, like. But then again, you're stuck in a rut. So it's like going to the gym, doing bicep curls all the time and not thinking you're not Dorian Yates. You're like, I don't do steroids, bro. I'm not eating 4,000 calories a day. And you go, why can't I just get biceps? And you're just like insane, doing the same shit. You're not taking self-accountability and all of that. So of all my failures, and there's plenty, I write a fucking book on them, and I will, I would say the biggest failure is not being aware that more things are in your control than you understand. You can't control everything. I'm not out here to change the world. But I didn't eat meat for 5 years. I took the control of not wanting to eat meat on a compassionate level. I didn't want to do it. Something snapped in Bali when I was there with my missus, probably throwing a leg. And there was too much meat in the room then when I was looking down. So I thought I might as well rap. But I would say that would probably be the biggest lesson, bro. Like, somehow realize that due to changes in action, you can change the reality, bro. And that's basically out of the the mouth of Vlad or Gary Canavi or Anthony Robbins or anyone else out there. I just haven't got the same income yet. Thanks a lot for that question. Who was it? Alex Bits. Let's wrap. Yeah. All right, so just to let you guys know, doing a Sydney show. It's a one-night only event. It's called River Liquor. There's going to be a bunch of new material that I'm just trialing. It's a trialing night. It's an awesome little venue, the Comedy Store. I'm doing straight stand-up, not a big theatre experience like what you guys are used to. That'll be next year at the Enmore Theatre, which we will sell out together with all of the listeners over here and their friends and families. And that's going to be a big tour. I won't name that, but that'll be about mid-year next year. But it's on Sunday, the 13th of November. The tickets are available now on comedystore.com.au. Sydney, it's at the Entertainment Centre, Entertainment Quarter, which is Fox Studios back in the day. It's called Fox Studios. Go and get your tickets now. Comedy Store, grab the tickets. I think already 25% has sold. So it'll sell out. It only has a couple hundred people. So it's going to be a small, intimate event. There's going to be some stuff from my first tour, some stuff from my second tour, and some new stuff as well that I'll be just like ripping around talking about river licking and a bunch of new things, which is exciting for me. I definitely am interested in seeing the reaction to people for the new material anyway. Yeah, life's a party, bro, and we got to party all the time. Not your traditional way of partying. It's which you know. Let's do it a good way, bro. Let's do it the right way. Anyway, love ya. Gotta leave ya. Time to wrap.
Another one.
Voice is gone.
DJ Khaled.
Rap.
I like the wretchedest women. Go. G6, let's get it. Rich niggas coming down to the city. On God. Yo, bitch, outside getting litty. Showing me the titties. Acting like a menace. Standing on the couch. Standing on business. Drinks in your mouth. Swallow, don't spit it. Party all the time. Feeling like Diddy. Shining little bricks. Feeling like Billy. God did. I'm a witness. I just sent 50 bottles to bitches. Know the gang getting the VIP by the business. Still in the meeting. Be back in a minute. The phone talking chicken. We the best, we too blessed, we keep winning. We the best. The party won't stop, it won't finish.